A lot of people like Nick Fuentes, partly because Fuentes is against and calls out statists like Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA and Candace Owens for being mouthpieces for Conservative Inc., the entrenched political apparatus that's embedded itself into the fabric of Washington's District of Criminals. And I can't really argue with that because Turning Point is a mouthpiece for what's becoming a Zio culture, which controls policies, exacts censorship, and promotes a more deceptive brand of statism. Now, without telling you what I believe about Nick Fuentes' ideology, and from what I've heard, I disagree with a whole lot of it because it pins itself to statist ideologies. Regardless of that, I thought what he said about Owen Benjamin, Ben Shapiro, and Steven Crowder, just to name a few, was interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it in the comment section below. Because we're seeing major divisions in both the Democrat and Republican parties that are forming diametrically opposed views within those parties, I thought this would be worth taking a look at. Of course, we've seen this kind of thing before, but I don't think we've seen it with as much frequency or intensity as is being displayed currently. This clip comes from a live stream held by the amazing Lucas today on his channel. I'm just going to play part of this, and you leave your thoughts in the comments section below.
What's going on with Owen Benjamin?
Yeah.
What happened with that? I have no idea.
So with Owen Benjamin, Owen Benjamin, as we know, worked for Hollywood for 20 years. He worked on shows, and we know what goes on in Hollywood. I don't really need to elaborate on that. Harvey Weinstein recently. It's a very sick industry. So we know that Owen Benjamin... Apparently. Go ahead.
I said there's some pedo rings going on there. Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. But, I mean, this guy worked in Hollywood, which is a very sick business for 20 years. And then you know who he worked with when he got kicked out of comedy because he was too controversial? Then he worked with the alt-right and the intellectual dark web. He hung out with Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Jordan Peterson, hucksters, shills, frauds, fake conservatives. And then when he got too controversial for them, well, then he tried to bandwagon on the so-called dissident right or the, whatever was left of the alt-right. And he started saying things that appealed to a certain audience. So this is where Owen Benjamin comes from. I think people forget that a lot. And for a long time, we got along. We got along because he would say nice things about me. His audience would say nice things about me. And I would say thank you. I would say thanks. I appreciate the kind words. That's terrific. But around July, it got really weird when, for no reason at all, he started attacking me. I mean, and you could go back. When I say it started over nothing, I'm not exaggerating. That's not hyperbole. One of his fans super chatted my show and said, "Hey, Nick, you and Owen Benjamin agree on everything. You should do a stream together." And I said, well, I don't think we agree on everything, but I'm open to doing a stream. He took that as a personal slight because I said that we don't agree on everything. And then he attacked me. He said that I was basically a coward for not getting my super chats revoked on YouTube. He implied I was controlled opposition because I still am on YouTube and I'm still on Twitter. He attacked my father. He attacked my mother. He attacked my sister, who's not even involved in politics. And then it escalated recently, after we had a pretty rough feud over the summer and he chickened out of a confrontation on the Ralph Retort show. He started saying nice things about me when the Groyper War took off. I started gaining traction, followers. A lot of attention was on me. So he, as an opportunist, said, I like Nick all of a sudden. I like what he's doing. I helped him be this way, whatever. On my show, I said I rejected that. I said, I don't like you. I don't want your praise. I don't want your respect. And then he threatened to kill me. He said more slander about my family, really just some filthy, nasty things. And that's essentially where we are. I don't really find it particularly funny anymore. Maybe it was funny as a feud over the summer a little bit, but, now the guy's just obviously sick. I mean, really just mentally troubled and an evil person. He pretends to be a Catholic. He says the most vulgar and horrible things about my family. He lies about me. And there's nothing Christian about that. So, I think the guy's going to hell is my opinion on him.
Wow, that is a mouthful. Once again, people who are watching this, I'm not condoning anything he says. I don't co-sign this. I just want to have a dialogue to see what his thoughts are. Now, you mentioned about Ben Shapiro. Why do you said he's a fake conservative?
Yes.
Why do you say that? Well,
I mean, the man is simply not conservative. Free markets. I mean, it's sort of interesting with him. There's like his beliefs and then there's his shadow beliefs. You know, it's like what he says he believes, which is not conservative. And then there's his real beliefs, which are really not conservative. You know, he says that he believes in like, like the free market and limited government and all this kind of stuff. And none of that is conservative, by the way. Let's just get out with it. A lot of people will disagree with me on this because they're not really on board with it yet. But there's nothing conservative about the free market. There's nothing conservative about making the government small. That's what he pretends to be about. I mean, all of that just sucks. This is a guy who says, like, free trade is a good thing, even if it enriches China at the expense of the United States. Free trade is good, even if it destroys jobs in America. Like, there's nothing conservative about that. But beyond that, Ben Shapiro, to me, is just an Israel-first shill. I mean, when I say shadow beliefs, I think Ben Shapiro, you can't really take anything he says at face value because I don't think he's really loyal to America. He might be a little bit, but I definitely think there's an allegiance to Israel, and people like that just shouldn't be trusted. People like that just, I don't know why we would take them seriously. If they're not all in wholeheartedly on America, it's like, why do I care what you have to say about politics or the way things are here?
And what do you feel would be considered a fake conservative? Would you think all of Daily Wire is a fake conservative, or what's your take on that?
That's an interesting question. I would say that, like, I'm not totally familiar with all the writers there. You've got Matt Walsh and Clavin and Michael Knowles.
Well, Matt Walsh was recently confronted, I believe, at an event, and I saw a couple of clips. I didn't see all the way through. What's his name? Vincent.
Yes.
He was there. He asked the questions. How do you work for someone who basically blasphemed Jesus Christ? What do you think about that?
About that particular confrontation, I think it's a question worth asking. You know, I mean, Ben Shapiro is a pretty influential guy, and it's true that I think Matt Walsh made an interesting point. He said, well, you know, everybody who isn't Christian, you know, believes that Jesus was not the Son of God or something like this. But it's a question worth asking, or at the very least reminding people what Ben Shapiro says about God. You know, I know if you're not Christian, it doesn't make sense to you. But if you are Christian, I mean, that's our Lord. That's the Son of God. And Ben Shapiro says that he was a Jewish rebel who got killed for his trouble. I mean, I get it. I'm generally tolerant to people that are not Christians, but I don't know why people would be promoting this guy or treating this guy like he's the second coming when he says things like that. You know, and that's how it goes. Everybody worships this guy, Ben Shapiro, and people forget that he's really not on board with Christianity. And to me, that's not something that's insignificant.
Okay, guys, these are some pretty bold words coming from Fuentes. Let the world and the Google Thought Police know what you think about this in the comments section below. And there are a couple more clips I may play later. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.